Welcome back to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
You know, we usually start these conversations by just jumping right into a specific headline, but today I actually want to start with a vibe.
A vibe. I like it.
Yeah, like a feeling. You know, that specific sense that the center of gravity in pop culture is kind of shifting right beneath our feet.
Oh, absolutely.
Like things that used to be considered completely mainstream are suddenly feeling a little bit niche.
Right.
And the things that used to be quote-unquote foreign or just a subculture are suddenly the main event.
It is that exact feeling of the map being redrawn in real time. I mean, it's disorienting for some people, but for others, it's exactly what they've been waiting for.
Exactly. And today we are looking at a stack of sources that prove that map isn't just changing. It has already changed.
Yeah, the data is pretty clear on that.
We aren't just talking about celebrity gossip today. We are talking about the NFL potentially shattering its biggest, most American tradition to capture a global audience.
Which is huge.
It's massive.
Yeah.
And we're looking at a new drama series that might be the darkest, funniest satire of modern romance we've ever seen.
I am so excited to talk about that one.
Sam. And finally, we are dissecting a celebrity engagement that essentially rewrites the rulebook on how to handle fame in 2026.
And what's really interesting about this stack of articles and data points and the social sentiment we gathered for today is that, well, these aren't just entertainment stories.
Right.
If you look closely, they are business case studies. They are sociological experiments in a way.
For sure.
We are seeing the globalization of American institutions, the digitization's intimacy, and really just a brand new blueprint for privacy.
Let's lay out the roadmap for you so you know where we're headed. First up, rumors are swirling about the 2027 Super Bowl halftime show, and the frontrunner isn't an American rock band or a standard pop diva.
No.
It's K-pop. Second, Blackpink's Jisoo is launching a project that gamifies love in a way that is honestly a little terrifyingly relatable.
Very relatable.
And finally, Tom Holland and Zendaya, basically Hollywood's golden couple, are engaged.
We have a lot of ground to cover, and what connects all of these is this idea of crossover.
Crossover.
Yeah, crossing borders, crossing between virtual and reality, and crossing the line from co-stars to life partners.
So let's just start with the biggest stage on Earth, the Super Bowl.
Let's do it.
The 2026 game in Santa Clara is in the books. You know, the confetti is swept up, the parade is over. But the industry, and specifically the music and advertising executives, they are already obsessed with 2027.
Because that game is happening at SoFi Stadium.
Right, in Inglewood, California.
And location really matters here. Inglewood is the entertainment capital. It's not just a stadium, it's a statement.
Yeah.
But the sources we're looking at highlight a massive, really an existential problem for the NFL right now.
Who cares?
They have effectively maxed out the United States.
Okay, wait, what do you mean by max out? Because, I mean, the ratings are still huge, right?
Oh, they are astronomical, sure. But they are flatlining in terms of domestic growth because, well, pretty much everyone in America who is going to watch the Super Bowl is already watching it.
Okay.
You just can't squeeze more juice out of that orange. If the NFL wants to increase its valuation, if they want to keep those ad rates climbing year over year, they have to look outside the borders.
And the global fan.
Exactly. Yeah. They need the global fan.
And this is where the history of the halftime show gets really interesting. I was looking through the notes on the previous performers you pulled for this deep dive.
Yeah, the legacy acts.
Right. It's always been the titans of Western music.
Mm-hmm.
Prince, Bruce Springsteen, Beyonce, Dr. Dre, Katy Perry. It's just pure Americana.
It is. I mean, even when they bring in massive Latin artists like Shakira and J-Lo, it's still very focused on the Americas.
Right.
It's historically been about appealing to the demographic that buys pickup trucks and domestic beer in the U.S. But the leak, and honestly, we have to call it a very strong rumor at this point, backed by betting odds and significant insider chatter, is that the NFL is looking across the Pacific for 2027.
They are looking at K-pop.
Yes.
Specifically, they're looking at Blackpink.
Correct.
Okay, let's pause here for a second. Because if you aren't deep in the music industry, or if you just casually listen to, classic rock or indie or whatever, you might think, oh, sure, they're popular.
Right.
But looking at the data in these articles we pulled, popular is a massive understatement.
It is a total understatement. The numbers are staggering. We are talking about the first musical artist in history to cross 100 million subscribers on YouTube.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
It is more than the population of most countries.
It really is. But the metric that actually matters to the NFL, the one that the executives are staring at on their spreadsheets, is the touring data.
Because they just wrapped the Deadline World Tour.
Exactly, and that wasn't an arena tour.
Right. We aren't talking about 20,000 seaters here.
No, and that is the key distinction. They did an all-stadium tour. They played the exact same venues the NFL uses.
MetLife in New Jersey.
Allegiant in Vegas. And yes, SoFi in LA.
Wow.
They have proven beyond a doubt that they can command a stadium crowd, which is a very specific skill set.
Yeah, you can't just be a good singer.
Right, you have to be able to project your energy to the cheap seats 300 feet away, and they do that flawlessly.
But I have to ask the obvious question here, which actually came up in almost every Reddit thread included in our source pile.
The BTS question.
Yes, the BTS question. Why not BTS? If we're talking global K-pop dominance, aren't they historically the bigger name?
In pure metrics over the last decade, yes, BTS often leads. But the industry analysis suggests Blackpink is the better strategic fit for the Super Bowl specifically right now.
Really? Why is that?
Well, their aesthetic, the high fashion, the high-octane dance pop, the whole girl crush concept, it aligns heavily with the visual spectacle the halftime show requires.
That makes sense.
Plus, there's the logistical timing.
Right, the military service.
Exactly. The BTS members are still navigating that post-military service reintegration phase in various solo and group ways. Blackpink is currently operating at peak touring efficiency. They are just a well-oiled machine right now.
There is also the Taylor Swift variable to consider. I feel like every single year since 2020 we say, oh, this is the year Taylor does it.
And every year she doesn't.
Right. But the notes suggest her relationship with Travis Kelce is actually a hindrance here, which sounds kind of counterintuitive. Can you unpack that a bit?
It's fascinating corporate politics, honestly. Because she is so heavily tied to the Kansas City Chiefs narrative right now, putting her on the halftime stage makes the whole event feel entirely monolithic.
Oh, it becomes the Taylor Swift Bowl.
Exactly. And the NFL and the sponsors specifically, they want the halftime show to bring in a different demographic than the game itself.
Right, they want additive numbers.
Yes. Taylor brings the exact same people who were already watching for Kelce. They need new eyes. They need the Gen Z kid in Paris, the teenager in Seoul, the fashion enthusiast in Milan.
That makes total sense. It's about reach, not just depth.
Precisely.
But there is a risk, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about the middle America dad demographic?
Yeah.
The guy sitting on his couch in Ohio who just wants to see AC/DC or maybe a country star? How does the NFL sell him on a Korean girl group singing in mixed English and Korean?
That is the billion-dollar question. And the answer lies in what industry insiders are calling the Trojan horse or bridge strategy.
Oh, I saw this in the notes. It involves their collaboration list,
Yeah.
which is honestly absurdly good.
It is unmatched. Blackpink has been very smart about collaborating with Western heavyweights over the years. Selena Gomez, Lady Gaga, Dua Lipa, Cardi B.
That is a stacked list.
It is. So visualize the show for a second. You don't just send the 4 members out there alone for 12 minutes to sink or swim.
Right.
You bring out Lady Gaga for Sour Candy. You bring out Dua Lipa for Kiss and Makeup.
Oh, wow.
Suddenly, the viewer at home sees familiar faces. They see Western icons validating the K-pop stars on the biggest stage. It bridges the cultural gap instantly.
So it stops being quote-unquote foreign and just starts being a massive global pop summit.
Precisely. And visually, think about it. YG Entertainment is known for maximalist production.
Very true.
The sources describe a potential set with the entire stadium bathed in pink light, massive pyrotechnics. It would be the most Instagrammable moment in sports history.
It really feels like a turning point. I mean, if they pull this off, it effectively ends the era of the Super Bowl being a strictly American event. It acknowledges that the center of gravity has totally moved.
It acknowledges the reality. Culture is no longer exported solely from the U.S. to the world. It's being imported to the U.S. from the world. And the NFL knows they have to get on board or just get left behind.
Speaking of importing culture and kind of shifting gears from the macro stadium view to the microscreen view, let's talk about the other side of this Blackpink coin.
Yes, let's get into it.
Because while the group is conquering the world, the individual members are doing some really interesting things on their own.
Right, let's talk about Jisoo.
So while the group is potentially negotiating with the NFL and dropping their new album deadline this coming Friday,
Huge week for them.
huge week, Jisoo is launching an acting project that sounds honestly kind of dystopian.
It's called Boyfriend on Demand. It premieres March 6th on Netflix. And I agree, dystopian is the exact right word, but it's wrapped in this candy-colored shell of a romantic comedy.
The premise is wild. Jisoo plays a character named Mireille. She's a webtoon producer.
Which, for context, is a notoriously grueling industry in Korea. High stress, Insane deadlines, literally sleeping under the desk.
Right. She is totally burnt out. She has no time for dating, zero emotional bandwidth for a real relationship. So what does she do? She subscribes to a virtual reality service.
And this is where the show gets really sharp. She doesn't just play a dating game, she orders custom-made dates.
It's like the Uber Eats of intimacy. You just tap a button like, I'll have one candlelight dinner with a tall, brooding listener, please.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And the casting for this is very meta. The virtual boyfriends are played by these incredibly famous, polished actors.
Right, I saw the list.
Yeah, you've got Seo Kang-jin, Lee Jae-wook, Kim Young-dae, and even a cameo by Jay Park.
Oh, wow.
And they are perfect. In the show, they are programmed to say the right thing, look the right way. They never argue. They never have bad breath.
And then you have the reality check.
Enter Saying Dunk.
Yes.
He plays her real-life coworker. He's tired. He's grumpy. His hair is messy. He says the wrong things. He's the absolute antithesis of the VR experience.
So the central conflict of the show is basically why choose the messy, difficult, real guy when the perfect VR guy is right there waiting for you.
Exactly.
And honestly, looking at the tech trends in our notes,
yeah,
that is not a sci-fi question anymore.
No, it's the question of our time right now. We talk about the Sampo generation in South Korea, young people giving up on courtship, marriage, and children because of extreme economic pressure.
Right.
The show takes that sociological concept and gamifies it. It asks if reality is just too hard, why not just subscribe to the fantasy?
It totally connects to the replica AI girlfriend trend we've seen in the US too. Yeah. People falling in love with chatbots because real people are work.
Completely. We are seeing a massive sector of the tech economy pivoting to provide synthetic intimacy. What's interesting about Jisoo taking this role, though, is that K-pop idols are often marketed as these perfect, almost synthetic beings themselves.
That's so true. They are literally called visuals.
Right. Jisoo is the visual of Blackpink. She is the Dior global ambassador. She represents absolute perfection.
Yeah.
So for her to play a character who is frazzled, burnt out, sweating in a hoodie, and struggling to choose between fake perfection and messy reality, it's a very savvy career pivot.
The reviews in our source pile specifically mention her comedic timing. We don't often see idols getting to be genuinely funny.
That's the underrated skill the sources kept mentioning. Physical comedy requires a complete lack of vanity. You have to be willing to look foolish.
Right.
If she can pull this off, it breaks her out of the pretty face box and establishes her as a serious actress who can carry a complex narrative.
It's also just smart synergy. The group drops the album on Friday, she drops the show a week later, they dominate the music charts and the Netflix top 10 simultaneously.
That's the modern celebrity ecosystem for you. You can't just do one thing anymore. You have to be an omnipresent brand.
Which brings us perfectly to our third story. Because if there is anyone who has mastered the art of being an omnipresent brand while giving us almost nothing personally, it's Tom Holland and Zendaya.
The ultimate case study in modern fame.
The news broke this week and confirmed it. They are officially engaged.
Tom Daya's getting married.
Finally. I mean, I feel like I've been invested in this relationship since 2016. It feels like a personal victory, somehow.
That's the slow burn effect working on you.
Let's recount the timeline for a second, because it really is like a movie script if you look at it.
It really is.
They meet on Spider-Man Homecoming. They spend years, literal years, gaslighting the public. Saying, no, we're just friends, he's my best friend. They're constantly roasting each other in interviews about height differences and British slang.
Which, looking back, was absolutely brilliant PR. They established a public dynamic of friendship first. It wasn't sexualized, it wasn't scandalous, it was just wholesome.
Yeah.
They built a foundation that the public rooted for before there was even a romance to root for.
Then we get the 2021 photos, the famous kiss in the car at a stoplight in LA. Game over. The internet broke.
But I noticed what happened after that, or rather, what didn't happen.
Right. They didn't do a Vanity Fair cover shoot. They didn't do a joint interview about their love life. They didn't start a couple's TikTok channel.
Exactly. The expert analysis in our notes calls this starving the parasocial beast.
I love that phrase so much. Starving the parasocial beast. Break that down for us.
So a parasocial relationship is when the audience feels like they know the celebrity personally. Usually celebrities feed this because it drives engagement, right?
Right, you want the clicks.
Yeah, they post stories of their breakfast, their vacations, their little arguments. They monetize access to their private lives. Tom and Zendaya did the exact opposite. They gave us absolutely nothing.
Which naturally only made us want it more.
Scarcity creates value. By protecting their privacy so fiercely, they made the relationship into a luxury good. It's quiet luxury, but for romance.
It's very old Hollywood, isn't it? It feels like Bacall and Bogart. It feels dignified.
It does. And look at their individual trajectories. You have Zendaya, who is arguably the most powerful fashion icon in the world right now, winning Emmys for Euphoria, starring in massive blockbusters like Dune. She is high glamour, high fashion.
And then you have Tom,
who is equally successful, obviously, as Spider-Man, but he's taken a very different path recently. He's doing intense West End theater in London. He's publicly stepped away from social media for his mental health.
I love that detail about them.
Yeah.
The sources mention how they perfectly balance each other out. There's this great anecdote about Tom stopping his own interviews on a red carpet just to step back and watch Zendaya arrive and take photos.
Yes, I saw
Or Zendaya just casually gushing about his work ethic. It doesn't feel competitive at all.
And that's so rare in Hollywood. Think about the power couples of the early 2000s. Bennifer 1.0, Brangelina. The narrative was always about the drama, the clash of titans, the volatility of it all.
Definitely.
With Tom and Zendaya, the narrative is sanctuary. They seem to protect each other from the industry itself.
Now we have to talk about the wedding speculation. Because when you have Zendaya involved, you have Law Roach involved.
Her image architect.
Yes. Law Roach doesn't just dress her. He constructs entire narratives through clothing. He builds moments. The fashion sources we pulled are already calling this the potential fashion moment of the century.
The pressure on that dress is astronomical, but I actually have a prediction based on their history.
Oh, really? What's that?
We won't see the dress until 3 months after the wedding.
You think they'll gatekeep the photos?
I think they will lock it down completely. Vogue might get the exclusive, sure, but it will be entirely on their terms, on their timeline. That would be the ultimate power move.
Wow.
To have the wedding of the century and not let a single person see it until you're good and ready.
It's funny. We started today talking about the Super Bowl. Literally the loudest, most public event possible. And we're ending with a couple whose sheer power comes from silence and privacy.
That's a great observation. But there is a real through line here.
Connect the dots for us.
It's about the blurring of borders. With the Super Bowl and Blackpink, national borders are dissolving. The traditional American game needs Korean stars to survive and grow.
Right.
With Jisoo's show, the border between reality and digital fantasy is dissolving. We don't even know what constitutes real intimacy anymore. And with Tom and Zendaya,
They're blurring the line between co-stars and life partners.
that for sure, but also the line between public figure and private citizen. They are actively rewriting the contract of fame. They are saying you can watch our movies, you can buy the tickets, but you cannot have our lives.
And the audience actually respects them more for it.
Exactly. We used to demand total access to celebrities. Now we seem to respect boundaries. Just like with the Super Bowl, we used to want Americana. Now we want the world.
It really does feel like we are entering a totally new era. The definitions are all changing. What was foreign is now familiar. What was public is now private. And what was fantasy is now just an app subscription away.
And the speed of that change is only accelerating.
So here is the question I want to leave you with today. We've talked about K-pop saving the NFL, VR replacing real-life boyfriends, and the new rules of celebrity engagement. But if you zoom out, are we looking at a future where there is no such thing as Western culture or Eastern culture anymore?
Right. Are we finally reaching the point where it's just global culture? Is the distinction even useful at all in 2026? Or is it all just content on the exact same screen?
Definitely something to chew on the next time you scroll through Netflix or check the trending topics on your phone.
Because it's all one big feed now.
It certainly is. Thank you for diving deep with us today.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Stay curious, keep paying attention to the signals, and we'll catch you in the next one.